In today's video, we're going to go over the pan and zoom features of AutoCAD. Now I have a brand new drawing open, and the very first thing I have to do before I start anything is I need to type units. And I change this to architectural because what I want to do is I want to draw in feet and inches, and then I hit OK. Alright, so what a lot of beginners don't always realize is that when you open a new drawing in AutoCAD, model space defaults to a very small size. It may look normal until you draw a really large line, like at 50 foot. So let me demonstrate. Here is, we'll do a 1 foot line. Here is a 50-foot line. As you can see, the 50-foot line disappears off the screen. And this can be very frustrating for people who are new to CAD because you don't know or understand what exactly is happening. Now remember that in model space you are building objects that represent real sizes, but we're still working in a virtual environment. So you're going to need to be able to zoom in and out of your drawings, and you're going to have to move around on the screen a little bit as well. So the solutions that CAD came up with for this exact problem is the pan and zoom commands. So first we're going to look at the pan command. Now if you haven't already done so, draw a 50-foot straight line like I did here on the screen. Now look at the mouse that you are using for the computer. Does it have a small wheel between the left and right clicker? If it does, you're in luck. This little wheel can help you pan around your model space, and it can also help you zoom. Now if you do not have a wheel on your mouse, go buy one that does. Seriously. That will make your CAD experience tremendously better, especially if you're trying to do AutoCAD on a laptop. Now if you don't have a mouse with a third wheel, as I call it, and if you can't buy one, you can still use the navigation tool, which is over here on the right hand side of your screen. If you have the wheel on your mouse and you press it down, it should cause the cursor to become a hand. And if you need to use the navigation tool, you can use the icon that looks like a hand as well, and it will get you the exact same feature. Now, do you remember when you were a kid and they had those sticky hands in the 25-cent vending machines that were really goopy, and you'd flick it onto something and it would stick? Well, that's kind of how I look at the pan command. It's a sticky hand, and when you click your left clicker and you drag it around, you can see how when you click it sticks, and you can get to portions of your drawing that are off the screen. What I like about pan is that it allows you to move around without having to zoom in and out all the time. To let go, just simply let go of the left clicker and you'll see the hand release. And to exit out of the command, all you need to do is escape. And you'll see that you go right back to the crosshairs. Pretty easy, right? So when you need to look at something that's off the screen but you don't necessarily want to change the zoom, use the pan tool or the pan command and you'll be able to move around the screen without a whole lot of problems. Next we are going to look at zoom. Now that little wheel on your mouse is really great for zooming. Simply roll it forward or backwards to see how it behaves. Some mice behave one way and other mice behave the other way, so it kind of depends on the mouse that you have, but this is a really great way if you need to zoom way out. Oh, there's that 50-foot line, and there's the 1-foot line, so that kind of shows you how small we really were zoomed in when it came to CAD. I kind of feel like zoom is a little bit like a drone, where we can fly way up in the air, and when we look down things look really small, but when we fly even closer to the air they look really big and off the screen and a little crazy. So think of zoom as your little personal drone tool that you have. Now what's important to understand is that when you're zooming, it does not actually change the size of that line. And I know that because I can come here to measure. This is the measure tool, and I click and you'll see that it gives me a temporary dimension telling me exactly how long that line is. So it's still 50 feet. right? Hit escape, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to still try to keep the line within the boundaries. It might be a little hard to do that. Well, let's zoom out. Something about right there. Measure. See, it still stays at 50 feet, so it's not like we're changing the size of the line, we're just changing our view of it. Now over in the Navigator tool, the Zoom tool automatically defaults to what's called Zoom Extents, and that's the magnifying glass that has the X with arrows on it. Now if we go right below it, you'll see a little arrow, and what that does is it opens up all the different types of options for zoom. Now, zoom extents and zoom all are virtually the same command. It forces all drawn objects in model space to sort of zoom to fit on the screen. So if I do a zoom extents now, that line is actually right here and it's way over here as well. So it's actually fitting inside the screen very tightly. I'm going to zoom out with my wheel just a little bit here so that we can kind of go back in here. Let's look at some other options. Zoom window. This is really great if you're zoomed way out, but maybe I want to start working with this little 1 foot line that's over here. So I click, I'm not dragging, and I click again, and anything that's inside that box will zoom to fit on my screen. So watch this. Whoa, there it is. So now I'm zoomed in on this area. I can add lines if I want to, right? Very nice. I can start working in this area. Going back to the zoom tool, zoom in and zoom out. They are exactly what it sounds like. So I could zoom in even a little further, or I can zoom out a little further. Now there's not as much control with zoom in and zoom out as there is with the mouse. So again, I highly recommend you get a mouse with the wheel between the left and right clicker for CAD. So just to recap on this video, if you encounter a line that shoots off the screen, don't panic. Realize that the zoom of that line is simply too small for the object, and you need to adjust your zoom for a better fit. When that happens, I usually use the zoom extents or the zoom all. Now if you need to concentrate in a small area of your drawing, I would recommend using the zoom in or the zoom window tool. And one of the biggest things that I see new students at CAD struggle with is trying to do detailed work in a small area, but the zoom is way out, and there's no need to strain your eyes for that. Use the zoom tool to help you draw. Remember that zoom does not change the measured size of the shape that you are drawing. So go ahead and practice drawing large and small lines. Use the zoom tool and the pan command to maneuver your way through your drawings.